Thank you very much. Good afternoon to each and every one of you. I'm so glad you chose to join us today. I also want to thank Robin and the board for asking me to speak. I never take this lightly, but I always look forward to the opportunity to speak to different groups. I'm honored, first of all, to be speaking on a topic that is dear to me. When we talk about caring for some of our most vulnerable in our community, and also as many of you have reaches around the state and the world. This is often a topic that is ignored or identified with some sort of political tag, such as socialism, when you're giving help or giving to others. And so I want my comments today to be seen as heartfelt and only through the lens of my Christian faith. Now, caring for the most vulnerable is a task that I believe those who are here today adhere to or deeply care about. But we can't allow it to remain mainly lip service in our community. Or the cliche method of just write a check, seal the envelope, and send. Or better yet, because technology is allowed, so we get on our mobile devices and send a few dollars to our favorite nonprofit. This is too easy and doesn't address the problem nearly enough. We must put ourselves in the middle of the issues through our actions. For instance, how often do we go to where the poor or disabled are? Or better yet, personally assist them in getting adequate services or assistance that they might need due to what we call scarcity. And I want to use this moment to define the difference between poverty and scarcity and how both disproportionately affect those who are most vulnerable amongst us. Being poor means that you have access to few resources, which limits the goods and services you consume. Scarcity means you don't have enough resources to do everything you want to do, so you have to make choices. Everyone experiences scarcity at some point. And if we continue to allow the abundance of our resources to be controlled by a few, there will be a greater amount of scarcity amongst us all. Christians are aware that Jesus says in Mark 14:7, "For ye have the poor with you always, and whensoever you will, do them good." This here doesn't sound like it gives us the liberty to forget or even ignore those in poverty. In the book of Luke, chapter 3, verse 10 through 14, Jesus is being questioned by a group of people about the poor and what they should do. And so they asked him, "What should we do then?" Jesus' answer was simple. He saith unto them, "He that hath 2 coats, let him impart to him that hath none. And he that hath meat, let him do likewise." Then came also publicans to be baptized, and said unto him, "Master, what shall we do?" And Jesus said unto them, "Exact no more than which is appointed to you." And the soldiers likewise demanded him, saying, "And what shall we do?" And he said unto them, "Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages." And I think all of those questions from those different individuals still play a very, very large role in our society today and how people are treated, whether they're being beat by soldiers or law enforcement, whether we're putting extra taxes on those we already know can't afford to make ends meet as it is. As we talk about the local agencies and churches giving coats or clothes to those who don't have, our food banks giving food to those who have more money than they have food. Paul Ekman is an American psychologist and professor emeritus at the University of California. He's quoted as saying, "In many deceits, the victim overlooks the liar's mistakes, giving ambiguous behavior the best reading, collusively helping to maintain the lie, to avoid the terrible consequences of uncovering the lie." It is stating the obvious by saying, if we allow people to lie about small things, they most certainly will lie about big things. One lie that I want to highlight and continue to be and continues to be perpetuated in our society is this massive tax cuts that will allow the middle class to somehow grow, and big business will hire more people. As we are all very aware, people need a steady and much larger income today than they did many years ago, just to meet their basic needs, and then hope to have a little at the end to add into the savings. This median income for most isn't enough anymore because it doesn't allow a person to even rent ideal living conditions in most major cities in America. And if you have children, this creates a much larger barrier for those families who barely can make ends meet now. Then, the only housing that seems available is that in economically depressed neighborhoods that don't have proper schools, that are inundated as food deserts, and have higher crime rates. And those folks are left behind in regards to education, job opportunities, and it has a disparate impact on their health. Dr. Cornel West is quoted as saying, "This country is in deep trouble. We have forgotten that our rich life consists fundamentally of serving others, trying to leave the world a little better than you found it. We need the courage to question the powers that be, the courage to be impatient with evil and patient with people, the courage to fight for social justice. In many instances, we will be stepping out on nothing and just hoping to land on something. But that's the struggle. To live is to wrestle with despair, yet never allow despair to have the last word." My son and I this past week spent some time watching the documentary 1968 and the parallels of injustice, racial and economic inequality is pushing our country to a very dangerous tipping point. And it's interesting to sit with a 9-year-old and him try to juxtapose the day that he's living in to the year of 1968. And CNN showed this, I want to say this past summer. We recorded it, and so we were sitting watching a few of the episodes. They had no school on Monday. And if you get a chance, go back and watch that documentary. I know some of you here were alive during the year of 1968. I wasn't born until 1973, so don't worry, I'm not trying to identify anybody's age. I was a couple years behind that, but I'm blown away by how much things haven't changed and how they've only gotten worse, and how important it is, as that documentary shows, many who marched and stood in the face of adversity and oppression, and without those individuals, and that's the part that I try to impart on my son, not knowing what it'll be like 20, 30 years into the future for him. These are the shoulders that we stand on. President Obama was quoting Warren Buffett in a speech not too long ago. He said, if you go to 1982 when Forbes put out their first 400 list, those people had a total of 93 billion. They now have 2.4 trillion, a multiple of 25 to 1. This has been a prosperity that has been disproportionately rewarding the people on top. Mark Zuckerberg, billionaire founder and CEO of Facebook, expressed a similar sentiment in his May 27 commencement speech at Harvard, which he dropped out of. We have a level of wealth inequality that hurts everyone. Let's face it, there's something wrong with our system when I can leave Harvard and make billions of dollars in 10 years while millions of students can't afford to pay off their student loans, let alone start a business. One other quote from billionaire entrepreneur Richard Branson has said a universal basic income or a free cash handout from the government to all citizens should be implemented as a solution to wealth inequality. A basic income should be introduced in Europe and in America, Branson told the New York Times in June, responding to the question, what do you think those in positions of power should do to address social problems like income inequality? He said it's a disgrace to see people sleeping on the streets with this material wealth all around them. Now, I'm going to pause for a second because as these folks make these comments, often the rebuttal from certain political parties is that's socialism. But I read in my Bible in Acts, they all put in what they had together that no one lacked. So we can't claim to follow the Christian faith and then reject the tenets of that faith. Isaiah 1:17 says, learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. In conclusion, I just want to encourage each of us to stand on principle and look to the tenets of our faith to bring equal justice to those who don't have the platform to be heard. This is our mandate and responsibility to build a more perfect union. We should want to be respected more than tolerated or even liked. And sometimes that takes having conviction in situations that are uncomfortable and might make our social circle question our positions. And that is absolutely okay. But when you have the sort of integrity that begins to change the people around you for the better, then you're having an impact that benefits us all. This should be our expectation of those in politics, business, sports and entertainment, and everything else in between. And if they choose to do the opposite of what is just, then we have a community of hope and faith, have every right to call them out and hold them accountable. I hope today we continue to encourage those who have the position and will to change things back to the way they're supposed to be. And for those who are marginalized, we demonstrate the compassion and heart to meet the varying needs of many of the folks that we say we care about. The time is now.